Well, today I'm going to show you about expedition kits. So clothes first. We're going to start from the bottom and work upwards. So the first thing you need is a good pair of boots, something that's going to support your ankles, because if you're carrying a rucksack and you twist your ankle over in a rabbit hole, you're going to know about it. So next up is some decent walking socks, something that's going to keep your feet warm but not too hot. And then you want some lightweight trousers and a top or a base layer underneath. Okay, next up then is a mid layer. So I've got a light fleece over my top half just to keep me warm while I'm walking, and then I put some gaiters on as well so that if I'm walking through some long grass or heather, I'm not going to tear up my trousers or get them too muddy. So the next thing we need is warm kit in case we have to stop for a break. So I've got a nice warm jacket to keep me warm if I'm stopping for lunch or a break, woolly hat to stop the heat going out of your head, and some gloves as well just to keep your hands warm. So the top layer is your waterproof shell layer. Let's have a look at that. So with this last layer I've just got a waterproof jacket with a good hood in case it's really raining hard, and then some waterproof trousers as well to protect your legs. So with this layering approach I've got 4 layers on, but I can swap and change them as the weather suits. So it's best to have 4 thin layers of different material that you can add together than just one fat layer that is going to get soaking wet. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is just talk about the kit that you need to take on expedition. So this is aimed really at a Duke of Edinburgh's expedition, it's that sort of kit. So first of all you need a good sized rucksack that's going to carry everything. This one's an 80 litre, but anything sort of 65 litres or above if you're working as a team should be big enough. We have to pack it logically, so what I want you to notice is while I'm packing it I put the things I'm going to need last at the bottom of the rucksack, the things I might need during the walk at the top of the rucksack, and what I also want you to see is that every single part of my kit is waterproofed individually. So I'm going to waterproof it in individual dry bags, but you could use bin bags or plastic carrier bags instead. So the last thing that I'm planning to use is my first aid kit and spare boot laces. So these are things that I'm hoping not to use at all, but I've got to carry them with me, so I'll put them in the rucksack first. Okay, also at the bottom of the rucksack goes a little trowel or something. This is for loo breaks, I won't say any more, but it's something that you're not planning to use during the day, so it goes at the bottom of the rucksack. Okay, the other part that you're not planning to use during the day is your sleeping equipment. So this is only something you're going to get out once your tent's up at the campsite. So you're not going to use it during the day, so it goes at the bottom. Now the one thing in your kit that you really don't want to get wet at all is your sleeping bag. So your sleeping bag needs to be double waterproofed. So first of all I'm going to wrap it in a rubble bag, which is just a thick bin liner, and I'll wrap it in this before I put it into a separate dry bag, because I really don't want that to get wet. So I've got a sleeping bag, I've got a roll mat to keep me warm and stop my body heat going into the ground. I've got a small wash kit. You don't need much more than toothbrush and foot powder for when you're out on expedition, and I've got some spare clothes, just something dry to change into when I'm at the campsite. So this can all go at the bottom of my rucksack because I'm not going to use it during the day. Okay, so that's all out of the way. One of the first things you need at the campsite is your tent, so it's really important that you can put shelter up. So it makes sense to put your tent at the top of the rucksack, but with this one I'm just going to slide it down the inside of my bag so I can still get it out, but it's out of the way while I'm out and about walking. So tent's going in next. While we're out walking then, we're going to be eating along the way, but we don't really want to stop and cook any time. So the stove is going to go in next. Now I've got some fuel, some pots and pans, and something to eat with, a spork, but also in this bag you would put your expedition food. We're going to save that for a different video though. Okay, so we're getting there now. So now we're going to move on to the things that you're going to use during your walk. So these are things that need to be towards the top of your bergen that you can access any time during your walk. So this is a group shelter. It's just like a big parachute that opens out and you can pull it over your heads for up to 8 to 12 people to take cover if the weather gets really bad. So I'm going to put this towards the top. It's used for emergencies, but you might also use it for a lunch stop or any time that you just need a break and a quick warm-up. So we'll put this in next. So that's that. Also towards the top are essentials during the trip. So here I've got some insect repellent, some sun cream, some loo roll, I've got a head torch, and most important of all, I've got chocolate snacks during the journey. So next thing is drinks during the way. Now I carry a litre of water with me all the time. You could carry more. I probably wouldn't carry much less than a litre unless you know there's streams along the way that you can fill up. So that doesn't need to be waterproof because it's water anyway. I also carry a mug. Now you could carry a folding mug or a plastic mug just to use at the campsite, but the benefit of having a thermal mug is you can make yourself a drink to take along with you during the journey in case it gets cold when you're stopping. Next comes my warm kit. So in my warm kit bag I've got a warm jacket, I've got a woolly hat and I've got some gloves, so that'll go in next. Now last to go in is the parts of the kit that we expect to use at some point during the journey. So I carry a set of gaiters in case we're going through long grass, and I carry a set of waterproofs, both waterproof top and waterproof trousers. So they go at the top of the Bergen so that I can get them at any time. So along the way you're going to need a map of some sort so you know where you're going. You don't need to be looking at the map all the time, so it could go in your kit bag if you're travelling an area of ground where you can see your destination. But whatever you do, always try and use a map case to keep your map dry and protect it along the route. So I'll put that right at the very top of my rucksack. Okay, so that's the bulk of my expedition kit. In the very top of the rucksack I've got a sun hat, I've got a compass. I don't like to use it, but it's there in case we get in bad weather and we need the compass to navigate off. I've got a whistle just strapped to the rucksack in case we need an emergency. And then in this last dry bag, all I'm carrying is perhaps some snacks for the journey. I've got a spare head torch. You might as well carry a spare head torch instead of just carrying spare batteries. I've got some pens for marking the map, and I've got some lip seal, because if you're out in cold, windy weather for 3 or 4 days, your lips are going to take a bit of a battering. So that's all that goes in the top of my rucksack. And that's it. So optional extras, you might want to bring a set of walking poles, you might want to bring some flip-flops for the campsite, or a frisbee, or maybe even a book. But that's all you really need. That could keep you going for 3 or 4 days.
If you're out for 3 or 4 days, your lips are going to take a battering.
Is that what